In today's video, we're going to be talking about EA getting bought out by investment firm conglomerate with $55 billion. Battlefield 6 is making fun of Call of Duty in their official trailers, and a Florida woman won a Mortal Kombat tournament while literally holding their newborn child. My name is the Techno Jelly. Please hit that like and subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it if you do. If you'd like to support me directly, please go over to my Patreon and join the community there. You can join the credits, and also you can join a once a month stream and access to polls for that stream. So please go ahead and check that out. Starting with the fact that EA is now no longer a public company. It is now a private company owned by a investment conglomerate, or a consortium is what they are officially called, the investor consortium. The firms are PIF, Silver Lake, and Affinity Partners in a all-cash transaction specifically, and they bought them for $55 billion. The consortium now owns 100% of EA, and the existing stockholders are going to be getting $210 per share in cash, which is a 25% premium, because at the closing of the purchase, it was $168.32. So they are getting a 25% premium on that, which is, I'm sure a lot of those shareholders are very happy. The interesting thing is with this buyout, EA is going to be on the dock for $20 billion in debt for this buyout. So that means EA is going to need to make a ton of money in the upcoming financial periods, which is going to be an interesting way to see how they do that, because in the announcement that they did themselves through all of the press releases, though it's the same press release, everyone's just using the same press release that I've seen, is that they only really talk about their sports franchises. They don't talk about everything else. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens, because first of all, there's going to be a lot of people getting fired. I think there's going to be a lot of what they're probably going to be called reconstructure losses, or some corporate word to hide the fact that they need to fire a ton of people because they can't pay them anymore, because they are $20 billion in financing debt right now. So because they need to pay that off to the banks, specifically JP Morgan. And I'm also really worried about studios like BioWare, who have been definitely on the downfall, and they haven't been selling a lot of games. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. I'm going to be very surprised if BioWare survives this, honestly, especially considering how the last game they released was Valguard, and it did not sell very well. And the new Mass Effect game, while it looks interesting, like, those don't make a lot of money. Like, they make a decent amount of money, don't get me wrong, but they don't make the amount of money that they need. Now, from what I know, they don't need to pay all the $20 billion like immediately. Some of it is being funded at like when the deal is done. So, and the Affinity Partners, so the PIF, Silver Lake, and Affinity people are paying for some of it, but there are some of it that EA does, and they have to spend themselves, I'm pretty sure, from what I can tell of this deal. So they need to make $20 billion by the time this deal is closed, and the deal is going to be closed Q1 FY27, and which means Q1 financial year. So that means EA needs to make around $18 billion from what I can tell in the next 2 years, which is insane. So there's going to be so much cost cutting. And I feel like the sports games are going to be microtransactions like crazy. They're going to be pushing for that type of microtransactions, because that's just what EA does. They did it before, and now they really need the money. And I'm expecting a lot of things to get axed. BioWare, I'm going to be surprised if they survive. Same with PopCap. I'm going to be surprised if they survive as well. It wouldn't surprise me if the only thing that survives is the sports games, and all the other IPs are either sold off or put in the vault, because they need money now, and it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. We're going to be keeping an eye on this, because I feel like this is going to be an ever-growing story, and seeing how they change tactics. And I'm not even talking about the fact that it is also a Saudi Arabian investment firm that bought them too. So I even believe even further that the fact that the RPGs that BioWare is making is not going to be accepted, because there's a lot of, I hate the word woke, but I feel like for them it's going to be woke. Even though I don't think their games are really that woke, like having female characters and having characters that can have same-sex relationships. I don't really consider that super woke, but maybe that's because I am definitely on the left-leaning side. So they would definitely feel like that is super woke. So I can see that stuff getting axed as well, or being heavily censored. So it's going to be interesting to see that as well. But I mean, they need to make at 20 million or $20 billion, so they need to make money fast, and the way to do that is through sports games and microtransactions, almost guaranteed. It's gonna really feel bad because we're about to talk about Battlefield 6 as well, but I feel like Battlefield 6 is going to be a good game, but that might be the last good game that EA releases in the next few years because they need money badly. But at least the shareholders are happy. They got $210 per share. So I'm sure they made a ton of money. And they're going to be a private company. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes as well. Moving on from EA's stock prices and the business overall, EA DICE specifically is working on Battlefield 6 right now. We're getting closer and closer to launch. And recently they released a live action trailer. And this trailer is probably one of the best live action trailers recently from them because they do everything right, because everyone has been hating on Call of Duty and the skins in the game and like the celebrity skins, and they have this opening scene of all these celebrities coming out and then they get all blown up and regular soldiers walk out and the trailer starts, and it's just the best because everyone's kind of sick and tired of all these games trying to be like, you know, oh, we're so immersive and stuff like that, and yet you have celebrity skins blatantly being super popped out and stuff like that. And the trailer itself, after that shade at COD that they're throwing, is a good trailer. It shows all the classes, it shows the equipment, it shows the tanks, it shows the maps, it shows the destruction, it shows everything you want to see in a good Battlefield game. And it even shows like the new stuff, like dragging away your teammates so you can res them and stuff like that. It's just a good trailer overall. And I feel like this is exactly what the Battlefield community needs, because Battlefield 2042 was not well liked in the Battlefield community because they took away classes and they took away what Battlefield was for a lot of people. And even though they did fix it eventually, it was too late. And people just wanted to be like, they just wanted Battlefield back. And it seems like Battlefield 6 is bringing it back. And at the very end of the trailer, they even show a good Battlefield moment where they're driving a Jeep into a building and they blow up their own Jeep while bailing out at the last second. It's a very Battlefield trailer. I really like it. I'm glad that they're bringing back Battlefield and they have that style back, even though like you can argue the style of Battlefield is generic shooter game, but it did have its own style. It had its own feel to it. Even if it was a modern military shooter, it still embraced that art style and feel and vibe. And I'm glad they're kind of going back to that because it is a modern military shooter with a seriousness of it, but there's also a fun with friends aspect of Battlefield that have always been existing, of like, you know, the Battlefield moments. They've always talked about Battlefield moments, and that's all been going around with the fun with friends and in this big open maps and stuff like that. So I'm glad that they're finally coming back to that feel for Battlefield 6. And I think this trailer is a perfect example of that. And I'm really excited for when it comes out in October 10th because it's coming up soon. And even though I personally probably won't be playing it right away because I'm just not a huge, big multiplayer map shooter, but when I played the beta, it was fun. I'm glad the Battlefield community is going to have a great time with it. And I hope they enjoy the game. I might play it eventually, whether they're going to be on sale or something like that, because I've never been a big Battlefield player, but I've enjoyed the Battlefield games and I'm glad they're coming back to it. Because the Battlefield games that I enjoyed mostly was Bad Company 2, Battlefield 1, and some of the older school ones, like the really old school ones when they're still in World War II. So I'm really happy to see that and them just be back into it. Finally, we have to talk about the fact that a Florida woman won a Mortal Kombat tournament with literally their newborn baby in their hands while playing the tournament. And as you can see here, she is literally just playing Mortal Kombat with a controller with her newborn baby, and that is so crazy. It's so funny. The baby is literally 5 days old, apparently, and it is crazy to see. And she's just amazing at the game as well. She defeated a bunch of people in Mortal Kombat, which is not a small feat. Just because it's a smaller tournament, it's like we're not talking about EVO or anything like that, but like there are plenty of people really good at Mortal Kombat, and the fact that she did that after having a C-section baby 5 days ago with that baby there, making sure that the baby is still there, is crazy to me, and just shows how good she is at the game and, you know, being committed to it. And in fact, and apparently she beat her own husband, which is hilarious, in the tournament, which is great. It was a small tournament, like she won like a trip or something, like a trip tickets to a trip and like like small money, 20 something bucks. But it's just so cool to see that she was literally playing with the baby in her arms, and it just shows that, man, some people are really dedicated to it, and it's so cool to see this. And also, I want to say, you know, even though she's only 5 years old, to that 5-year-old baby, kudos to that baby, because apparently she did not cry or anything like that. She was just laying there, hanging out, sleeping most of the time, and it's just like, wow, this baby was totally fine with being around in that vibe. Now, once again, it is a small tournament. It wasn't like a big tournament, so there wasn't like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people there, but there were still dozens of people there. So there's still a lot of people, and it's crazy to see that both the mom and the daughter were be able to compete in this. And it's, hey, maybe she's the good luck charm, you know, maybe she is the good luck charm for this. It'd be really funny to see. But the picture of her playing Mortal Kombat with the baby in her arms is, I think that's going to be like, it's going to be an iconic, I feel like. And it's going to be interesting to see how this impacts some people, because I do feel like in overall competition, women don't have an easygoing time with it. Like, there's so many extra barriers I feel like you have to go through if you're a woman trying to play video games in any sort of way in general, and then even more barriers when you have to do it for competition specifically. And everyone always talks about the whole being a mother thing, but it's like, hey, she literally had a baby 5 days ago, and the baby's in her arms while playing the game, and the baby's fine, and she's fine, and she's literally getting first place in a tournament with a bunch of people. And even in this in the picture, you can see once again, like, it's not like, it's a small tournament, sure, but there's still a bunch of people. There's like 10 plus people probably in this tournament, and that's a big deal. And especially with a 5-year-old, like, I feel like some people in their all adult years don't like it when there's more than like 8 people or 5 people in a room, let alone a 5-day-old baby. But hey, I am glad that she won, and it's kudos to her. I hope she continues playing the game and she enjoys it. From what I can tell, she is that type of person, so I'm glad. And congratulations to her. It's just great to see that. Thank you everyone for watching today's video. I really appreciate it. Please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. 95% of the people who watch my videos aren't subscribed, so please hit that subscribe button. Comment down below what you all think about any of these stories, whether about the EA buying stuff, the Battlefield 6 trailer, or this woman winning the Mortal Kombat tournament with the baby in her arms. If you'd like to support me directly, please go over to the Patreon and join all of these nice people in the credits, as long as joining the once a month streams and the polls to decide on those streams. If you would like to check that out, go over to the Patreon. I'd really appreciate it. If you'd like to follow me on other platforms, I have a Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, and Threads. Thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye, everyone.